I would like to start by offering my sincere condolences to the family of Jo Cox, particularly her two small children. Yesterday, Labour MP Jo Cox was attacked on the streets of Yorkshire and died as a result of the injuries she suffered. This was an absolute tragedy. The facts widely reported by the media are as follows. Jo Cox was in a library in Birstall where she held her regular surgery. She heard a commotion outside. She left the library and went outside and found two men having an altercation. We understand it's been reported that Jo Cox tried to split this up and was attacked by one of the men. We understand that she suffered stab wounds and was shot, and she subsequently died from her injuries. Those were the facts that were reported. However, the media spin that followed was an absolute outrage. This attack, as brutal and horrific as it was, is being portrayed by the media as a terrorist attack. The media are using terms such as right-wing extremist, right-wing terrorist, and they reported that the alleged gunman, who has been named as Tommy Mair, shouted "Britain first" during this attack. This caused a media frenzy, and as you can imagine, myself and my colleagues at head office were inundated with phone calls, emails and interview requests asking us if we knew of this man, if we had heard the rumours that he had shouted "Britain first." Now let's take a look at the source of this hearsay. In this case, there are supposedly three eyewitnesses. The first eyewitness is alleged to have said that the shooter shouted "Britain first" whilst carrying out his attack. In actual fact, this witness, who was the first to have been quoted by the media as allegedly confirming that the shooter shouted "Britain first, has publicly confirmed that he wasn't at the scene. He was in his car, stuck in traffic at the time, and he has posted a poster in the window of his business confirming that he was not there, he did not hear anyone shout "Britain first, and he did not say that he had. The second of the supposed eyewitnesses was quoted by the media as saying he heard the shooter shout "Britain first" during and after the attack. This is what he had to say when approached by a news reporter.
You know, some people have said that there was "Britain first" was being said.
Never heard that.
Which restaurant are you from?
As you can see, the first and second of the supposed eyewitnesses have both confirmed that they did not hear the shooter shout "Britain first." The third eyewitness gave this account to the media.
What words did you hear?
The words I heard him say was "Britain first" or "put Britain first." I can't say exactly what it was, but...
So here we have an eyewitness who said he possibly heard the shooter shout "put Britain first." Very different to how the media are portraying this situation. Maria Eagle, the Labour MP, was the first public figure to tweet that the first of the supposed eyewitnesses had said he heard the shooter shout "Britain first." This is the same eyewitness who now has a poster in his window stating that that is not true. Maria Eagle later deleted that tweet, but by that point the damage had been done. The fire had started and it was spreading rapidly. We saw every major news outlet across Britain and in fact the world reporting that the shooter in this attack shouted "Britain first." Virtually every single media outlet across Britain was reporting that the shooter in this attack was somehow linked to Britain first. We even had major public political figures such as Hillary Clinton jumping on this bandwagon. Yet how many people are taking a moment to consider the facts that were presented by the media? That Jo Cox was holding a surgery in a library. She heard a commotion, she went outside, two men were having a physical altercation. She tried to stop it As a result of trying to do so, she was brutally attacked. And tragically, she died from injuries that she suffered from one of the men involved in the initial altercation. Those are the facts that we have been given. Yet we are still seeing, even today, the media portraying this as some kind of premeditated, politically motivated terrorist attack. What the media have done is politicise Jo Cox's death, and it is an absolute outrage. It's not the first time we have seen the media behave in this way. The phone hacking scandal, the Hillsborough disaster. We would have thought that by now the media would have learnt to report more responsibly, more respectfully. It is widely reported that the alleged shooter, who has been named locally as Tommy Mayer, suffers severe mental health issues. Reports published in previous years have confirmed that Tommy Mayer was actively involved in daycare centres offered to those adults suffering with mental illness. What we have here is a situation where the media are trying to portray a man who has been described as a loner. Even his lifelong friend has described him as someone who is not at all interested in politics, but does suffer with mental health issues. The media are portraying this man as a right-wing terrorist, as opposed to a man who has committed a terrible act and suffers with mental health issues. There is no line being drawn there. In fact, what the media are doing is scaremongering. Enough is enough. Despite the fact that over the course of the last 24 hours, Britain First has been the subject of a smear campaign, and I personally have confirmed to almost every major news outlet in Britain that this alleged shooter, who we know who has been locally named as Tommy Mayer, was not and is not a member of Britain First, is not a Britain First activist, is not on our register of donors. I have never seen him, I have never met him, I have never heard his name. We cannot make it any clearer than that. Yet this is not being reported because it doesn't suit this agenda. I am urging the media to act more responsibly. And moreover, the members of Parliament who see fit to tweet allegations without having established facts, they should take a long, hard look at themselves. The fact of the matter is, a mother of two is no longer with her husband and two children where she belongs. Those media outlets and MPs who are politicising this terrible attack and tragic death to push their own agenda need to take a step back and consider the ramifications of their reckless and irresponsible actions. It is time we allow Jo Cox's family to attempt to deal with the grief they must be suffering right now. Without bounding insults and pushing political agendas, let us give them the time to grieve and try and cope with this tragic event. Our thoughts and prayers are with them.